All right, we're back with another episode on the Desert Shift. I think this is episode 4 now. Was gone last week. Was on some PTO visiting some friends out in Louisiana. We're back with coordinator Dylan Gargas. Thank you very much for coming back on. I think you were a highly requested. People really had a lot of people say like, "Yeah, got some good stuff to say. You guys got some good banter going."
The
So
guest so nice you had to have me on twice.
that's right. That's
I
right.
think your parents were just in the facility last week, and your mom, not that she seemed starstruck, but
That's funny.
but your parents were so complimentary of, obviously they're probably your biggest supporters, and
Naturally.
they're definitely listening. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, no, it was nice meeting them, and then that was just a funny, like, one of those things that you almost forget. Like, not that I forgot about my desert
Yeah.
shift experience, but just one of those nice reminders of like, yes, that's how you know me.
Yeah. No, I thought the funniest thing was my mom. My mom stopped me and was like, "How big is Gargas? Like how tall is he?" Because we sit in these chairs and they're rather low and like we're all like bunched up like this and like you're like what 6'5", 6'6". Like I'm only 6'3" and like I feel small. I like you
6'6".
tower to that chair.
I was joking with Grayson Liebhart, who was on last week, that he should change his Twitter bio to pitching intern, and then just 6'5", by the way.
6'5". Oh, by the way,
People forget that he's a big guy too.
dude, he is. He's a big fella.
But yeah, no, I'm eating up this chair right now. Do like a little short adjustment here. But
Perfect.
yeah, no, it's comfy.
Perfect. Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, I know I was probably very missed last week in the gym, but I know a lot of confidence. You guys take care of all the guys in the gym, had successful live at bats. However, I did want to talk about. I went out to Louisiana, went out to LSU, and man, have you ever had a chance to go to any like SEC games or like any like big time college baseball games before?
Some Big Ten baseball.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to think. We played against Duke at IMG, so I
Okay,
wouldn't
that's
say
gotta
that really counts. We played at UCF, and then beyond that, the 1 year I was on the team at Penn State, I was not on the travel roster for
Gotcha.
many trips. So as a result, I've seen a good amount of college baseball in San Diego, and a bunch of baseball at Penn State from the dugout, just
Some
cheering,
really good for
cheering
you.
on the team. And then Cary, North Carolina, and IMG and UCF.
All
So
right.
no, long answer.
Well, yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. Dude, I had never, so for context, like that was, I think the only, I don't really go to college, but I wasn't like a huge, like before working here, I'm not like a huge college baseball guy. I know people say like, it's that's like the ultimate hype. That's like where the most like raw emotion is. There's some great talent out there. And I believe that. And I did. But I think my first college baseball game was GCU against Tennessee. And they actually walked off and I got to go see Chase Burns throw like 100 and like pitch like 98 or something like that. It was crazy.
But that was here.
That was here at GCU. And I wouldn't consider GCU like one of those like,
Upper
SEC type schools. I mean, I know Tennessee is, but that was kind of like my first time seeing the talent of like that kind of, that level of college baseball. And going out there this weekend, this past weekend, they played Tennessee again. I got to see who was the lefty from Tennessee. It was Liam Doyle. Yeah, I mean, he's leading NCAA baseball in whip. I think he's got like a .8. Oh, dude. I mean, 24-inch ride heaters. It's bizarre. And like,
what's like the slat? Where's he throw from?
Very, very over the top. Like he's definitely one of those guys that like gets a ton of thoracic extension, like uses it to his advantage for sure.
Contralateral tilt.
Yes, definitely gets a ton of that and like gets the arm into a great spot and rides the living hell out of it. And that Friday night, I got there I went to New Orleans beforehand, spent some time with my dad and my uncle, who I went there with. And on Friday we went to the game. There's a 3-hour rain delay. They were like, hey, like I was like on Twitter, I was like looking at the game and it was like, hey, prepare everybody that's going to be at Alex Box Stadium. And it's a pretty like renowned stadium to go to. They were like, expect a big crowd. And I was like, I can imagine, Tennessee's kind of, if you know their head coach, Tony Vitello, like he's kind of one of those fiery guys that'll kind of, try and get guys like get underneath the skin a little bit. Very, very passionate coach, which I can get behind. But I guess there's like a little bit of not beef, but there's a little something between LSU and Tennessee being in the SEC. And that place holds 10,000 people. They sold out 13,400 odd some people, 13,500.
Standing room only.
There was 3,500 people on the concourse. This is a 2-level. It has box seats up on the top. I mean, dude, I had never seen anything like that before. It was like a mini, like when we talked about Petco the first time you were on, It's a beautiful stadium. It's like, everybody says like it's a top 5 stadium every time in terms of like fan experience
Yeah, it's
or
always Petco, PNC, and what is it, Oracle now?
oh yeah
Yeah,
with the Giants.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are
like
those are always like the big three that people
that
refer
everybody
to.
just loves. Like you have to go if you're a baseball fan and you're like,
Yeah,
even if you're a casual fan, you go there and you still love the area. Um, Dude, it was just incredible. Like to see 13th, like almost 4,000 people just walking on the concourse and like standing there for a full game. There was a 3-hour rain delay. I thought maybe these people will head home. Dude, not one. I think there were more people when the game started. It started at like 10 o'clock at night, 9:45, and it was electric from the first pitch. Like from the first pitch, everybody in the crowd was buzzing. It was incredible. I'd never been a part of something like that, and I thought it was an unbelievable just like environment. I know we talked about that last time we were on too, and it was just like wow, it really kind of made me like take a step back and appreciate college baseball a little bit more.
yeah. That's reminding me now. I do have one other experience. It was at Oregon State,
Oh, really? In
which,
Corvallis? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Goss Stadium, I think is what the
Okay,
name of it
I
is.
can't remember the name of it, but yeah.
I was a freshman in college. I was visiting a bunch of my friends. I had friends at Oregon and Oregon
Okay.
State, and we just did like a little road trip. And one of the days we were staying at a hotel right across the street from the field, and they were playing UCLA at the end of whatever season.
Ooh.
This would have been 2016.
Oh,
Uh,
so both those teams were solid.
I think so. I want to say Oregon State was going to go, play in the tournament.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just remember that the price of tickets were sold out, but then they had said
Wow.
you can go to right field and there's some bleachers that you can you
See
can
over a little
peek up
bit.
on. So we
Funny.
did that, me and one buddy that joined me, and just watched a couple innings from there. But it was insane. That I mean, that stadium probably holds comfortably 3,500 to 5,000 is my guess.
That's still a damn
Um,
good crowd for a college game.
yeah, and just to
Wow.
see everybody, the fact that I was having to stand on those it was like a
Yeah,
light tower.
that's funny.
It was not probably
Let me in.
not
Let
that
me
it
in.
wasn't safe, but yeah, I feel like that's real college baseball.
Dude.
And then you win, crazy what happens.
Oh my
Winning
god.
brings in a ton of fans,
Yeah.
exposure.
Yeah,
It's
they
good for all
walked it off in the
parties.
bottom of the ninth. It was that ball that got hit, and they had hit a couple balls that night that it was just it was windy. Like the ball was kind of somewhat carrying, and apparently the ball kind of carries there anyway. But when I think the kid's name is Jared Jones. They call him Bear Jones. He's like their All-American first baseman. He's got like 16 jacks on the year. He hit a ball that it was like frightening when he made contact. It hit it. It was like 116 off the bat, 452 feet, and there's like a 30-foot like batter's eye, and it cleared over that. And when he hit it, I looked at my dad. My dad's like, has I got a chance?" I go, "Dude, that ball is just pissed on. It is clearing that wall by a mile, and it was still going up. Like it looked like it was on this trajectory forever. I thought that ball could have gone 500 feet. It was wild."
So your dad's just not a ball knower. You didn't know it off the bat.
He does, but like, dude, there were so many balls that went to like right center that like at the track, just like
The
you
the
heard the whole crowd just go
the best is it's always the first week of the season where you need to get recalibrated on like batted balls.
oh yeah,
Where it's like growing up, I always remember the first like opening week of baseball being the hardest as a fan, where I'd like see just some sort of barrel and like get out of my
yeah,
seat, and then it's like you just got to get those training reps
yeah,
again, like knowing what is a home run and what isn't. You just get excited with all contact.
yeah.
But
I can't remember what movie. There's like a movie, and it's like, and there's a high fly ball. It's going. It's caught by the second baseman.
yeah,
I think it's Major League or something. But
uh,
either way, it's so damn funny.
in Major League, there's what is it like the little junior broadcaster gets on after Bob Uecker passes out.
Oh yeah, when he's
It's too
when he's
drunk, and then he's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"You're up," and
yeah,
then it's just this like line drive, like lays out to make a catch, and his call for it is fly ball, caught.
yeah. It's just like plain as day. Just that's what happened. There's where it is. But yeah, the one thing I took away from LSU, man, amidst like their incredible facilities, everybody like Southern hospitality is a real thing. The food was phenomenal. The people were even better. It was a great experience. Got to see like all the behind the scenes stuff of like their development stuff. It was awesome. Like if I was good enough to go to LSU, damn, I really wish I would have been, because it would have been an incredible experience. But
You weren't good enough.
no, God, no. I thought I was. I thought I had
Yeah.
the stats. I think I've told somebody this. Like, I had really good stats out of high school, but like, I was like, somebody will call me. It's like topping 80. Somebody will call me. It's like, look at my numbers. And then it's like, nobody called me.
I was so dug in on the fact, and like stubborn, just in the fact that I was a pitcher, and some of these other guys
Yup.
that were getting
Throwers.
yeah, they were just throwers. I know how to pitch. My 82
They never seen an 82 like mine.
No,
Trust me.
no.
They don't know what's
There's a
coming.
reason I'm eating innings. But
Yeah.
anybody right now can go to Max Preps and find my high school stats, and will be like, "Wow, you were one delusional motherfucker."
Yeah, oh yeah. I can probably say the same. I just wish somebody would have slapped me upside the head a little bit earlier to find a
The
place like Driveline.
I love doing the thing where my mom would film just about all of my outings,
Yeah.
and I think I made a highlight reel of
Oh gosh.
just the D1 commits that I faced.
Oh, geez.
Say you get like a loud out, but like
Yeah.
it's an out.
It's now. Still
And
counts.
I took so much credit. I just delete any, giving up a home run to
That doesn't need to make the
Kyle
cut.
Dean. Remember, we were talking about him
Yeah,
the
we
other
were
day.
talking about
How
that one.
it
Yeah.
took me to the
Oh,
deepest part of their field. Alex Jackson,
Jackson, yeah.
sophomore year of high school. Oof.
Dude, the teams that we played though, like I look back at that and I'm like, dude, there's a lot of guys that made it to the big leagues or like got drafted, played at big time colleges, and I was like, dude, what is like San Diego is like a hub for like just great baseball. Like Southern
It
California is crazy.
it adds to the delusion because you think
You can get that guy out.
you,
You're
you,
like,
you just
I'm
assume
just as good.
you're on the same field, so
Yeah.
obviously like you must be doing something right, and then
Yeah.
it turns out you just happen to live in the same zip
Yeah.
code.
It's just like this is where my parents settled down and decided to have me. Just got lucky.
There's a reason why MLB scouts are coming out to watch specifically him,
Yeah.
and then they are on their phones when I am
You're throwing
either
your heater.
pitching or and that person is not involved in the play.
That's funny. But that's a good point because that we talk about being a pitcher, right? Something that stood at me at LSU. Keep in mind, I mean, almost every right-handed guy from both Tennessee and from LSU. I don't think I saw a baseball from the right side thrown less than 94, like legitimately less than 94. And I know we have a couple guys that train there as well. And like I got to see one, and he was 96 to 98. I think he topped out at 99. Like there were multiple guys that came in that were just like sitting 96, 98, topped out at 100. I saw 101 from, I believe his name is Chase Shores. Just incredible. However, the one thing that stood out to me was like Chase Shores goes like 3-2 or something, or 2-2 to some guy. Struggles to land a slider at like 91, 92, by the way. Crazy.
Yeah, 91, 92 mile per hour slider, by
Sli-
the way. No biggie.
Yeah. Throws a changeup or like a split at like 90, low in the zone, gets taken. He comes back like a heater. It's like, I don't know, 2-1, 2-2. Tries to groove a 90, I think it's like a 100.1 or like a 99.8, something like that. Just inner half. This kid from Tennessee absolutely turned it around. And it really like stuck in my mind because I was thinking about that. I'm like, dude, you would think that like that's harder than most MLB pitchers are probably going to throw, and this kid sat 97 to 101. That's upper tier velo, and it just didn't matter. Like those kids looked at that and they were like, "That's a Tuesday afternoon. This is a Friday night game. Like that's normal to them." But what stuck out to me was the fact that like the guys that were really really successful landed their off speed pitches so much more frequently. When they got into those positions where it was like 0-0, 1-0, 2-1. Their Friday night starter was Chase Anderson, and I was laughing. I was talking to my dad and my uncle, who obviously played. He would go 0-0, breaking ball, 78 miles an hour, Big 12-6 curveball,
Freeze.
instantly 0-1. It was just like that's the cheese, like the little cheesiest way to go 0-1, and the hit. Next thing you know, he's throwing a changeup 0-2. It's like, dude, it's like suffocating. You can't get the guy off you. You're just in the hole every time. And I know that's something that guys like, you see guys like Velo isn't everything, that's for sure. I think we've come to that conclusion that like throwing hard is good and it gives you some more leeway, but being able to be a pitcher is still very, very important. And I think that was something that I really took away at LSU was just like how much pitching still matters, even if you throw 100, still a fastball. And if you know it's coming, if you're a good enough hitter and you will face them, they're going to be able to hit the ball. They're going to be able to have success against you if you can't land anything else.
Yeah, it's crazy because obviously everyone always talks about baseball being a game of failure, especially on the hitting side, right?
Oh yeah,
Succeed 3 times out of
3 out
10.
of 10.
Great.
Yep.
As a pitcher, you are expecting to get guys out at least 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And there are times, especially, it's like not until I got into the coaching realm and I sat my ass on that bucket in a high school dugout where I could visibly see. You can see guys who pitch full tilt, right? Where it is like they know that they have the advantage, they are the aggressor.
Yeah.
But then you could see others where it was 50-50. They were playing uphill sometimes.
Yeah.
And you'd see them, it was a matter of maybe losing a changeup and then they're doing some feels work in between pitches. And as a pitching coach, you start getting nervous. Like you're like, oh, I got to make a mound visit, reset something.
Yeah. Just get him a breath.
Yeah, because there is something about it's like say momentum. When things are going right, there are some guys who unwaver, right? Like it just
Oh
doesn't matter. You
yeah.
could throw a pitch to the backstop and that guy is just going to be unfazed.
Oh yeah.
And then there are others where it's like you can see them start to spiral
Yeah.
and, one miss leads to two, three,
3, 4, yeah, and
and
then you're
it's
really
just,
going.
yeah, the amount of times where you see someone say it grades out as like a good pitch.
Yeah.
Say strike one, but they just walk the guy on
Mhm.
4 pitches,
Yeah.
4 consecutive pitches the at bat before, and they're
Okay.
trying to figure out why did that 85, like in high school baseball,
Uh-huh.
right? An 85-mile-per-hour fastball for a strike. That's what I wanted to do.
Sure.
How did it get turned around the other way?
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
well, hitter was just able to eliminate. He knew that he was
Yeah,
just only going to get a
yeah.
hitter, and that you were going to try to find the zone.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like those little details, those little. It's one of those things where as a player you just never pay attention to it.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
just on cruise control. You're just watching the game. You're just cheering on your friends,
Just is what it is.
your
It's just like
teammates,
another pitch.
and
No big deal.
then
Yeah.
and then it's not until after the fact where you're sitting there charting and you're
Yeah.
evaluating each pitch, and you're just like, "Oh my goodness, I see it now. I see why coaches were on the edge of their seat when I was on the mound in college, or when."
The big red panic button, they were
Yeah,
just like, "Oh god, he walked another one on 4, like, get the guy hot, get him
yeah.
hot now." We
But
need
there were
him.
just some guys where it was just clear as day, ball to the backstop, whatever. Just something
Yeah.
didn't go their way, and they were
Just
unfazed.
doesn't even matter. Yeah, I like that you bring up, like, the momentum of, like, when things are going really good for guys, it's really easy. Like, it's just like, "Oh, I threw a ball, like, I threw a changeup in the dirt. That's fine, whatever. I'll come back and it'll be 1-1." Like, those guys, and when it's going well, it's really easy. It's really easy to just, like, find yourself again and just get back up there. The hardest part is, like, when you're spiraling and you're like, "I have not thrown my breaking ball for a strike in 2 weeks. What the hell can I do? What do I do in those situations?" One of the biggest things I love to have guys do. I've been doing this with a couple of my college guys this year. Um, I'll watch their outings after the fact. I'm a big superstitious guy. I was talking to Maddox about this morning with one of our guys that goes to U of A. I don't like to watch any of his outings. I put my left sock and my
Live.
left shoe on first. I cannot watch his outings live. I feel like he's pitched very well at this point. I will not watch it. I don't want to mess that up. I won't do it. But I'll have him kind of like go back through his outings. I'll kind of like have him get his opinion on stuff, and make it more of a conversation rather than me just like talking at him. And I'll take some notes on like, "Oh, I really like this adjustment that you made. What was your thought process here?" So like when he does struggle, he can kind of reference that and journal that and be able to go back and be like, "Okay, during the stretch where I mean, I'm not gonna go through his numbers per se because again, I'm very superstitious, but he's been pitching very well. I want that time in his life of like, what was your mindset? Where were you at? What were the days leading up to your catch play? What does it feel like?
Yeah, your guys' communications can act as a training notebook.
Exactly. And it's a very open, it's like an open book test. Like when you start to struggle, what are some of the things that are consistent that you can go back to that are going to help you get back on track? And I think that has a lot of value. Do you have anything that you like typically have guys do or something that you feel like gets guys back on track quickly?
No, I mean, guys just seem to really want clarity, and
Hmm.
it's not a matter of sugarcoating things if something's going poorly. It's just a matter
Oh,
of
yeah.
finding some sort of answer, because a lot of times, we'll just say a team coach
Hmm.
is working with 20 pitchers typically on a
Yeah.
staff, 15
Yeah.
to 25 guys.
Hmm.
So it's bound to happen. Guys are going to get lost in the shuffle or
For
lost in the
sure.
mix, and coaching is very much especially in a team setting. And once the season rolls around, it's very much a like, what have you done for me lately? And it's
Absolutely.
really hard to balance that dynamic of when a guy is struggling, giving them the right dosage, or there's this
Yeah.
subconscious behavior that happens where that guy just starts to get avoided.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
First bad outing, immediate attempt at intervention from a coach.
Yep.
If that doesn't work, a lot of times that guy is just kind of on his own. It's like,
Yeah.
I took my one shot and it
That's what I
didn't
got.
seem to work, and like he's just got to figure it the fuck out. He's got to figure it
Yeah.
out on
At
his
some
own.
point. Yeah.
So in that case, it's like you can tell which guys have been, we'll say, disenfranchised to some degree with their coaching staff, whether right or wrong. But at the end of the day, they just want some way to see progress or
Yeah.
to trend, just trend positively, and feel like they're in control of their
For
own
sure.
destiny. A
Oh,
lot of guys, I think, once shit hits the fan in season, it's very easy for it to spiral out of control, because they just don't know what to do or what's
Yeah.
going wrong.
You're just trying to find anything. You're like, is it mechanics? Is it what I'm eating? Is it like, dude, sometimes it's just like, am I wearing the wrong? I remember I did this. I would wear long pants or rolled up pants. And I'd be like, is it the fucking pants that I'm wearing, man? Like, what is going wrong? You're just like soul searching at that point.
Yeah.
You can't figure it out.
And nothing that actually, it's always, you pick the things that aren't even substantive. Like,
Yeah.
they're not actually going to pay dividends.
No.
But yeah, that's ultimately like what you mentioned about almost using your communications with an athlete in season as some sort of training notebook, like whether or not that's what you intended to do. But
Kinda. I mean, yeah, it's almost like a study guide for yourself of like knowing who you. I think sometimes athletes don't really have. Sometimes they just don't have like a good way of like reflecting upon themselves. I guess, and I guess that's kind of what I was going for with
yeah,
it.
I think you know who comes to mind is Barlow. Joe Barlow was the king this past off season of he found some of his old notes in his phone.
Really?
Just like
Oh,
years
that's so
because
cool.
he would just jot down his notes after
Sure.
certain games,
Oh,
bullpens,
that's so
outings,
cool.
whatever it was. But they were cheesy, right? They were like, these guys can't fucking hit you, never
Dude.
forget that.
Yeah.
But it's crazy the power of some of the just jotting things down. I'm a big fan of physically writing.
Yeah. Same.
Definitely helps me retain information and it just feels more permanent.
Hmm.
But I think that's one of those, we'll say, lost arts that you do see a lot of the higher level guys that are in gym here. Just even as slight as soon as the bullpen's over, have a conversation and then they just get on their phone and start jotting a note.
Yeah.
Just like a reminder because they do like to go back through that and it's just something to reference. And I think back to when I was playing, one of the biggest, we'll say, pivotal moments when I got really yipped up was the
Hmm.
fact that I didn't really know what to turn to. My identity
Yeah.
was just so lost in terms of all these mechanical changes that I had tried to make with like one pitching guru or pitching
Yep.
coach to the
Yep.
next. And then at a certain point, it's like, I don't even know what I ever did well. I used to be able to collect 3 outs.
Yeah. You don't even feel
Now,
like yourself anymore. Like
yeah,
who? It's funny. It's funny. You're like, who am I?
yeah,
Like you're so lost. You're like that Mr. Krabs meme. Just like, dude, I am just everywhere right now.
spiraling.
Yeah. It's like a one snowball. It turns out, this big, and all of a sudden you just keep pushing it and you're trying to find stuff. But yeah, I actually really like something that you said as well is like, don't sugarcoat the shit. Don't fucking sit there and tell me it's gonna be okay. It's okay. Like it happens to everybody. Yeah, yes, it happens to everybody. Inevitably, everybody gives up homers. Like you're gonna have bad outings. Nobody's fucking perfect. This game's really hard. But there's nothing worse than when your coach just like doesn't give you anything. Like as a coach, if you're like, I think athletes will actually have more respect for you and what you're doing to help their career if you just straight up tear the band-aid off and just be like, look, man, you have not thrown well for the past 3 outings. What is going on? And work with them to be a collaborative kind of thing. So it's not just like you, again, I said it before. It's like you're not just talking at them. You were a team, especially for us because we're a third party a lot of times. Obviously we're not a college, we're not a high school. It's not like our jobs depend on it. Those guys are trying to win to keep their jobs as coaches. Our job is to be a third party reference of like, we can be as unbiased as we possibly can, and our sole attention is your career. Yes, we want your team to win. Yes, we want you guys to succeed. But ultimately, like, I care way more about the guy that's training with me than his teammate because this guy has invested in himself, and that's my job. That's my duty as being a driveline trainer is to like, I'm gonna ride or die with you, whether you give up a home run every time you go out or you strike out the side. But I think a lot of athletes like need that unfiltered kind of like, fucking dude, you sucked. Like it's okay, you sucked, but admit that. Put it up. Why did you suck? Let's figure out what happened. Were you not throwing this for a strike? Why?
A bit more process oriented.
Yes, exactly. Coach the inputs, not the outputs. Dan Fav?
Dan Pfaff.
Right? Yeah, Fav.
Alphys.
Yeah, I love that. That guy had some really cool stuff to like just read about. So I'm gonna keep getting into that. But yeah, I think that's super super important, and just being able to have some kind of reference point, like you said, of like that's really cool to hear about Joe because he's just a man. I really enjoyed his time here, but like it could be as simple as just like, dude, you're the shit. You're the
Yeah.
fucking best. You
Like,
can
I'm
do
sure
this.
he dug those up whenever it was like, hey, I found these from 2022 and things were going really, really well.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think he laughed at them like, these are kind of stupid. But
Yeah, maybe.
but holy shit, like sometimes I do forget that like I am a badass. I am that motherfucker that
That's right.
I'm the one that makes the ball go this way, that way. I'm the dictator of what happens out on that field.
Absolutely.
And yeah, there is just something about being the aggressor on the mound and
Mhm.
never even when it's a 3-0 count, bases loaded, whatever the case may be, pitcher still has the advantage in some way,
Absolutely.
shape, or form.
They have to hit what you're throwing, and I think a lot of times we give, not to say hitters,
Too
I,
much
I don't
credit.
like to shit on them or anything, but we give hitters way too much credit. Hitting the baseball is the hardest thing in sports, bar none. I don't care what anybody says. Cornerback, quarterback, it doesn't matter in football, basketball, it doesn't matter. Hitting a baseball that's moving and you don't know where it's going to go and you don't know the speed and you don't know anything else, like it's the hardest thing in sports. So why do we give, as pitchers, why do we give them so much credit to be like, oh, he's going to just nail my 90-mile-an-hour fastball because he knows? It's like, dude, give yourself some credit. You throw the damn ball well. Go out and do it.
Coaching confidence in the guys.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. My one season as a high school pitching coach, I take a ton of pride in, because I learned this, actually. His name's Sam Pepper, one of the best coaches I had at Grossmont.
I do. Was he
he
was like an infield coach
he
or
was
something,
a hitting
right?
guy.
Yeah.
So
I remember him.
Pep was the man. He was a hitting guy, but
fire.
he was one of my favorite people to talk pitching with, because he had a pretty good understanding of mechanics. And then, he just never really sugarcoated things. But he was a big fan. Like, well, we would always just talk baseball in general.
Just a baseball dude that just like eat, breathe, sleep, everything. Yeah.
And I remember us talking about coaching confidence in the guys, because he had, I think it was a clip from that season back in 2016, 2017, of someone in the SEC getting the green light on a 3-0 count.
Oh, God, yeah.
And just taking a big old daddy hack,
Just
sending
let
them
it
to, I think it was a walk-off home run.
Sick.
But I remember him being a huge fan of that clip and being like, that is sick, because they gave that guy the confidence to do so.
Yep.
Other coaches, all these Cali small ball coaches, would have given that guy the red light.
A little fake bunt action. Give me that ball for
something. And it's like, no, that guy has earned the right to do that, because he is a very damn good hitter.
Yeah.
But if you all of a sudden give any sort of indication that, or suggest that maybe like,
we kind of have we have some doubt in you to be able to do this.
Passive here. Like, I always, that always resonated with me. And so I'd say coaching, the one season of coaching high school baseball and dealing with the dynamics of a pitching staff, there were guys, and I, as a player, I was someone who was, especially in college, lowest on the totem pole.
Okay.
Right. And you know your role, but it only heightens, each performance at that point. You know that it's life or death, because if you
may never get this shot again.
Yes. Yeah. And so there was just, I definitely stressed the importance of recognizing certain guys that just didn't get very many opportunities, giving them the opportunity to fail. Not just, hey, they walked the first 2 batters, we got to pull them out.
Yeah.
It's, you almost have to trick that guy into believing that he is way better than he is, because at some point we are going to need him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you're going to make a championship run, which that high school team did, you need
gotta be deep.
You need all parties to be involved, all hands on deck.
That reminds me of, like, I remember in college, I came in to close a game and I walked the first guy on like 4 pitches. And our head coach was kind of just like, I could tell he was uneasy. He's like looking around, and I remember like I had this thing where I'd look at like my best friend in college. His name was Ernesto. He always
shout out Ernesto.
Shout out Ernesto, man. I hope that dude's doing well. I would like, how people like say like, oh, you got to find something that gets you back to like 0, right? You like look at the foul pole.
Yeah. Look at your glove.
Shit you not. I would look at my homie and be like, I know that dude put in the exact same work that I had, and we were going to work our ass off to make it work. And I just looked at him, and I remember like going back to the field, and there was nobody in the bullpen. And it was just like, they are going to let me either blow this game or win this game, and that is it. And I remember just being like, all right, dude, you're either going to figure this out, sink or swim. And there was nothing better than that feeling of like, not only did my homie believe in me, because I remember him looking back and just like kind of nodding at me, and there was no better feeling as like a 20-year-old, 21-year-old guy that is in college just being like, that dude fucking gets it. And my head coach is kind of getting antsy, and there was nobody in the pen, and I was just like, let's just do it. And I remember like getting a pop-up, whatever, and getting out of it and like feeling really good about it, close the game out. But like that confidence, like you said, coaching that confidence, like it's the worst feeling when you walk one guy and like your coach is like, get him hot, like let me get somebody else in here because this guy clearly cannot do his job. That's got to suck.
The teammates, two go-to teammates from the team at Grossmont that I was on, one of which Reese Hernandez, played second base. So imagine my role on that team was just a bullpen arm that every now and then got opportunities.
Sure. Okay.
And I remember Reese was the king of, if something did not go my way, right, weak hit, whatever the case may be,
bloop,
he'd be the one that gets the ball in from the outfield. and you'd give me this little turn of the ear.
Flush it.
Flush it.
That was our hitting coach in high school, Coach Noble. We got our asses kicked one game, and he took us out to left field. He wasn't even our head coach, and he just goes, "You guys get that shit out of your system? Good. Flush that shit."
Yeah.
And that was it.
And what's funny about that is like, there's a part of me now that looks back on that and it's like, that is cheesy or corny. Like the fact that, but why it worked for whatever reason is because a lot of times when I went out to that mound, I felt as if I didn't deserve to be out there, especially with how good that team was and the other players on the field. There was like a fear to let those guys down.
Yeah. Like you don't want to be the disappointment of your team. You're like, God damn, we're bringing Gargas in again. Like, it's over. Yeah.
Exactly. Like you can sense it or feel it, but when guys are behind you doing stuff like that, Justin Berkey, the third baseman, was the king of, gets the ball thrown around or whatever, but then he'd give me like a muscle, like you got this. Like every now and then, hey, let's be smart here.
Nice.
Something about that. It was
teammates, man.
Yeah, that stuff, I don't know how to quantify its effects, but there's just something about being the guy on the mound with the tail between your legs, and like it when it's happening.
Can't lie to yourself.
But when you have you feel a little bit more loose, a little bit more free when all of a sudden you know that the pressure of letting down your teammates, you don't necessarily feel it as much.
Yeah,
you feel like as if it's a
they're out there with you. That you're like, this guy is willing to like believe in me, and at that moment you either have to choose to believe in yourself or you're like, never mind. But I guess most people will reach out to that, which brings up a good point. Like, be a good teammate. Like, I mean,
if you made it this far, be a good fucking just for real. You never know what the guy on the mound's going through.
Oh man,
I know we talked about him being the aggressor, but like sometimes he's gonna need a hug. He's gonna need a hug. He's gonna be a little passive, and you just gotta help him work out of that.
Dude, my mom sends me this meme sometimes, and it's like this cartoon meme, and it's like a catcher walking out to the pitcher, and it like shows like one picture he's like walking out there, the next picture they're like talking. He's like, sometimes I'd like for you just to come out here when things are going well, because like how catchers only go out there when like shit's going bad. He's like, come on man, like we got to figure this shit out. Like that's a whole visit.
that was the feedback. Barlow was the one that gave this feedback to me this offseason. You only tell me when I'm doing things wrong. Like that was some of the best coaching criticism that I've ever gotten. We'll say constructive feedback of just, hey man, like I'd kind of appreciate you to let me know when it's a good rep and it looks good.
I remember that bullpen. He threw like a nasty fucking sinker or something, and I was just like, God damn, that was fucking gross. And you just like sat there and you're so professional and you're like, you're coaching. You're like, yeah, it's good right there. And he just goes, the fuck is my compliment from you? You're my actual coach. And I remember that. It's so funny. That was good banter.
There's been times. I remember Will Klein was the one this offseason who hit me with, I was giving audible nices. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Pitch. Yeah. And I remember he turned around at one point and was like, Dylan, no, not nice. Like, it was because here I was evaluating. I'm evaluating ball. I'm evaluating either like you can only really do one or two things at once, right?
For sure.
So I think at that point in time, I'm evaluating Velo and just like overall what I'm seeing with his delivery, the mechanics of the throw. And because that seemed to be a big focus at the time. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, he was also a bit more over the plate. His focus was a bit more over the plate.
Yeah. Yep.
And here I was a little bit more over the rubber. Yeah. And I just hit this nice on a pitch that's 2 balls off the plate.
Yeah.
And the turnaround, the reaction of like, Dylan, no, not nice. If I want to get to where I want to go, that is not going to play.
It's not good enough.
You're damn right. But just let me know. Like we'll reconnect after this bullpen. But
I love that. I love those little interactions with your athletes, and it's what separates, like, in my opinion, it really separates a coach getting the best out of their athletes and kind of not, kind of getting them half-assed. And I think I definitely want to ask you the question of what we were talking about before we started this. Like, I'll let you get into it, but I don't even remember the name of it. But like, if you don't have your athletes buying, and like those athletes don't feel like this coach is actually going to like be out throwing in a way with me, or like really buy into my career. Like, I know for us, like, I watch every outing from all my guys if I can. Like, I'll look up stats weekly every Monday. That's like one of my things that I love to do, is just like go on there, see how my guy's outing went, or when he pitched last, or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I want that guy to know, like, hey, like, when you struggle, I struggle. When you succeed, it's all you. Like, that's our job, is to kind of be like, when things are going wrong, I want to be there for you. And when things are going right, it's like, I told you could do it, and like having that belief in them. But I do want to give like 1 or 2 tidbits to kind of circle back to the command stuff of like, if you are struggling with command, and that's just something that you've been, beating your head into a wall, you're like, man, I just can't seem to find it. Like, one thing I'll give you two things, and I'd like for you to give one of your things as well, because you always have good stuff with, like, we did the softball thing, and we always have good stuff there. But I think one thing is, like, give yourself some grace.
The red pill.
Realize that this game is really hard. It's not, nobody goes out there and succeeds every single time. Two is an actionable thing. Man, try and find, like, okay, if you're struggling with command in the games and it's with your heater, try and gamify your bullpens. Try and, like, when you're catch play, like, you're struggling with, like, your breaking ball, like, give yourself 20 throws at the end of your, after your long toss session, or before you go onto the mound. Just, like, flip a couple to your catcher, flip a couple to your catch play partner, and just, like, try and, like, get reps. I think there's, like, it's either you're recovering and you're just playing catch. No, those reps can be used for something really positive, and it can be nice and easy 60% curveballs, or I'm just trying to get this changeup over, or whatever it may be, and then try and apply it and really gamify your bullpens to where then that game time comes, it's not as challenging. You're like, I've been here and done this a couple times now, and I've seen my progress. It's got to feel way better that you're just getting more reps and confidence in that. Yeah, you got to give me one. You got to give me one command thing that you could give the folks.
Well, you were just mentioning gamifying it, and that concept of an example would just be someone who is struggling. Say they're struggling to land their off-speed pitch,
Okay.
right, and off-speed offering,
Okay.
and it's killing them.
Yep. Yeah, because then you're only throwing heaters, and good luck. We know how that goes.
But what do you think that person's bullpen is going to look like? It's like naturally they are just going to continue, right or wrong. A lot of guys just fall victim to doing the same thing.
5 heaters, couple changeups, couple curveballs, one batter, call it a day.
Versus, okay, I've got 25 pitches to work with.
Yep.
I need to allocate these, I need to allocate my work here as, we'll say, effectively and efficiently as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, I suck at throwing my, let's just say it's a sweeper.
Sure.
I am struggling to land my sweeper for a strike. I am going to allocate 50% of this pen towards just throwing that pitch. And then I'll play some, then I'll simulate some hitters towards the end. But like right now, my issue is not throwing strikes with my sinker. It is not throwing strikes with my cutter. It is. So, and one way you can gamify that as well as a coach is, say, in a bullpen, you get to the portion, say first 15 pitches, you allocate throws accordingly. Mm-hmm. But then if you go to, let's just say a live at bat, or not live at bats, simulating hitters.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like with like a dummy or something. Yeah.
You can use a point system of.
Oh, okay.
Of where you value, this is such like a basic concept, but where basically, let's say the pitch that they struggle to throw for a strike the most, they get rewarded with more points.
2 points instead of 1.
2 points instead of 1.
Perfect.
5 points instead of 1.
Cool.
Maybe you can go really, really into the weeds with it, or really highly detailed based on their actual strike percentage or in zone rates. But yeah, that's just such a simple way to just shift the focus, and it's one of those where guys only, it's always well intentioned. Everyone goes and throws their bullpen and thinks that they're hyper focused, but it's just not always smart. And at a certain point, guys have just been doing the same thing.
Repetitions
they
just
fall
start
into the same routine, but they don't necessarily challenge themselves to actually get good at the thing that they suck at. Or
well, that, and you have to be okay to fail, because those first couple pens, man, are probably going to stink. You're probably not going to be very good. Because, like, how can you be? Like, you're not doing it well. Like, you have to get more reps, and you have to, like, incentivize that and put yourself in that headspace. I think Point Loma Nazarene, their head coach, I can't remember his name.
I think it's Justin James.
Justin James, yeah. I had a couple friends go there, and they said that he would do something similar, that, like, he would pre-plan their bullpens and, like, pretty much like a bullpen script, and you either got like a point or you didn't get a point. And I don't know if he ever did like 2 points or 5 points or whatever, but I still think, like, from me, that's very interesting, because I've been an on-field coach in the past, and in pro ball it's just like, man, like, what have you done for me lately? Like, I can't go to you in the 7th because you have a 15 ERA and you walk 3 guys every time. I got to go to my guy that is going to get me 3 outs because I want to keep my job. But in those moments, like, for a college guy, like, you have to develop in high school. You have to develop guys. You have to be, like you said, you have to be deep. You have to have multiple guys that can go for you on a consistent basis. And so I remember one of my friends showing me that and being like, hey, like, this is a really cool way of doing that. So that's a really good point. I actually really like that. So,
and as weird as it sounds, it's like, I don't know that it's necessarily tricking a guy into thinking that he is now suddenly cured, right? But all of a sudden, there's probably some element of placebo, right? Where a guy feels good about the fact that they succeeded at the game, or They were at least doing
Yep.
something in their own power to get better at the thing that they suck at
Yeah.
versus just doing the same thing and hoping,
Praying, yeah.
praying, well, hopefully this outing goes different.
Yeah, and there's no like preparation to that. That's coaching the output instead of the input. It's like you can do things that are going to help you lead to better success and future results. So,
Yeah. And
really
you
cool.
can change, we'll plug the command training balls and incorporating those as well,
Dude,
because
huge.
just an added challenge.
Yeah.
Almost there's an element of that as well, where it's like, if you can throw this pitch for a strike with this, like, we know the general miss tendencies with this ball.
Yep.
And like, you struggle to throw, you are missing arm side and high with your heater
Okay.
the majority of times. Now all of a sudden I give you the oversized ball. I know that is
Just going to amplify
typically
it.
it's just going to amplify the miss, feed that mistake.
Yep.
If you can overcome that, now put a baseball in your hand, like, you're going to feel as if
No
yeah,
big
it's
deal.
like, so it's like when we were talking about the softballs, the Dominicans, I think it was
yeah.
was the king of just
Oh.
I throw that softball in my catch play,
Yep.
and I put a baseball in my hand, I can do whatever I want with it.
Just reminds me of the Phil. It's that easy. It's just that easy, man. So yeah, no, I just like to be able to have something to like kind of tie it back. I love obviously all the conversations in here are great. They're organic. I love that, but I want to make sure that we give actionable things to everybody. So it's like, okay, great. Now that, there's probably some high school or college coach or guy that's out there. It's like, now what? How do I do that? Great. You guys gave me all this information to do it. Like, now what do I do with it? So I think being able to apply that is really, really important for, for the folks that do listen. We appreciate you, but now take that shit into action and go put it out there for your guys to get better.
Coaches, players, whoever it is.
Anybody. If anybody that wants to just get better at baseball, for sure. So walk me through. I'm excited about this because I never heard of it, but you said there was something about bio and psychological what?
BPS. So it's biopsychosocial.
Okay, yeah. Give me.
I guess I've been sending this video to different trainers, and somehow I haven't sent it to you.
Who the hell? I send you shit all the time.
I don't know.
You're killing me.
So
I work 5 feet from this guy. He doesn't even send me the good stuff.
You're aware of Angus Bradley, correct?
Yeah, very, very good.
Angus is an Australian, I'm going to say S&C.
Yeah, I guess so.
We'll say like a personal trainer, but
Sure.
he's pretty well known in the S&C field.
Yeah.
He's a big fan, or I feel like is probably one of the bigger advocates of this biopsychosocial model, this lens of thinking, of training. And it's something that I've resonated with a lot lately. I think mainly just because it's helped answer maybe why the way I view training the way I do. I never really had a way to put a finger on what it was that I was always thinking. I was always really intrigued by the idea, as soon as I started working here, of everybody's training experience and the outcomes that they receive are going to be very different. It's not just like this program yields this result for each athlete.
Okay. Yeah.
But if this athlete is happy and has a good life balance outside of the facility, his training results are likely going to be better. Like I feel confident about, there are just these little factors that just don't always get, when we look at everything through this lens of, here's the perfect program, do it, and you're going to get this amount of elo, or
impossible. Yeah.
And so there's a big piece of that it's basically just this concept or idea that instead of looking at things as very cut and dry and like a rigid training structure, you have to,
if you do X, you will get Y. Like, for sure, X equals Y. Okay.
Basically being this all-knowing guru of a trainer.
Gotcha.
And like, here's the perfect program, and then not no deviation.
Don't ever go away from it. Yeah.
And telling, you can have a conversation with the athlete, right? And in this case, right, if you can have the conversation with the athlete, but if you just neglect their input and things, who knows whether or not they're going to be bought in, which is a kiss of death to the training.
Yeah.
So it's just basically having a bit more collaborative of an approach, where it's like, you sit down, you can tell a guy, hey, here's what I want to do, here's what I think is best, but then you find out, I'm not super comfortable throwing plyos, or you just unpack all this information and context, and you can, instead of telling them, hey, plyos are, this is going to be the best means of training, you have to meet them in the middle to some degree of like, here's what I'm thinking, here's how we go about this. Are you, not that it's just like, hey, are you comfortable? Do you like this?
Yeah.
But that buy-in is just so important, where I'm trying to think, the example that came to mind the other day, and I think what really highlighted it was, there was an interview with Phil Maton, who trained here this past offseason, and he had some positive remarks about his training, but what was really interesting, and he's had an awesome season so far, and has seen some velo gains.
And the
But
absolute go, by the way, phenomenal person to
yeah,
like be around. Really hilarious.
Yeah.
Remember his first day, by the way. Sorry to interrupt. His first day, I remember like walking in the gym. It was like 8 a.m. I was like, oh damn, I'm not a very big morning person, dude. And I have to drive a long way from my house, and so I'm like getting, I'm rubbing my eyes. And I go, hey, good morning, Phil. He goes, good morning. I go, you all right? And he goes, it's too damn early for this shit.
yeah.
Like fucking 8 a.m. I was like, that's so awesome.
I'd say that's generally his demeanor, but it's funny because in that interview, one of the things that stuck out the most is like here he has positive things to say about training at Driveline this off
Yeah.
season and the programming, whatever else. But one of the tidbits was he really enjoyed the fact that he was 10 minutes away from home. He would come here,
Yeah.
throw,
Oh yeah, I do remember.
and then get to go lift. He
Yep.
lifted at another spot with one of his trainers.
Yeah.
And then went home. There was like 10 minutes there, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and then got to go home and enjoy the rest of his day.
Yeah, he wasn't like flying around. I got to do this.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't an hour-long commute to the gym and just like dreading going into the facility. It was perfect. I get to go in, do my work, then I get to go lift, and then I get to go home. And I think he even says it's just like drink wine and hang out with his wife.
Yeah.
Like that sounds like a pretty nice.
That sounds like a great day.
And he got his work in, but we'll just say it is crazy to think that he could have done the exact same programming.
Yeah.
Anybody, right?
Yeah.
Could have done the exact same programming, but had they been upset, had like a 45-minute commute, not look forward to it, fuck.
Another day.
Yeah, or not been bought into whatever programming they were getting fed.
Yeah.
Those results are going to suffer.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's
for sure.
ultimately, there's just so many factors and variables at play. And I think that's, we'll say, one of the signs of a really good coach is having, we'll say it's the constantly moving needle of understanding what levers to pull, what adjustments to make on the, it's not just, hey, here's the 6 weeks of programming that I gave you. You were talking about this earlier with some athletes of like, what do? I have this programmed in there for them.
Okay.
But yacked in the parking lot this morning. Like
Yeah.
I don't know that I can let him go out there, like, do a velo day after finding out this information. And like last week didn't go all that well.
Yeah.
You have to, there's just this give and take. And I think it's just a matter of, we'll say, over communicating and collaborating with the athlete.
Yeah, you got to meet him in the middle.
Yeah, because if they show up and they're like, oh fuck, a velo, like
I gotta do this shit. Yeah. No, I completely agree. That's actually, I didn't know that was the BPS, so biopsychosocial concept or idea. I didn't know that was a thing, but I feel like that's, I think that we kind of do that here inadvertently or without really knowing that. It's like, we say that like Stan Efferding says, compliance is a science.
Compliance is
right? I mean, but it's true though. Like if you don't believe in what you're doing, and Angus does, I've seen a couple posts about this from him, is like, you could write the most perfect program, and you're training like a 40-year-old dad or mother that, she's got 2 kids and they have to work 40 hours a week. They work from 9 to 5. They're just trying to find the time to just get in shape. You got to meet them in the middle. You can't give them an hour warm up. They're never going to do it. And they're not going to enjoy their time training to like getting in shape. It's going to be a mess. They're going to hate it. And I think that comes down to like, even when you think about like a diet, like, this is something that I'll share, like after retiring and like not playing baseball anymore. It's something that I've struggled with, is like, what is my purpose of like, how do I get active, or how do I like just eat better? Because before it was like, I knew I had to eat good because I had to go perform. Now it's like, what am I doing?
Well, you got to perform on the floor as a coach.
Oh no, absolutely. But I can have like, I can go salad and go Chipotle, I can go have some pizza. I did have a fired pie the other day. It was really good. But it's like, you have to find the little thing and like give yourself the consistency and work with yourself that like, you know what? I don't need to be 100% dialed in and like, I can't have a pizza every once in a while. I can't have that piece of cake ever. I only eat chicken and rice and broccoli, and it's in this massive case every day, right?
Yeah. Funny jokes. Pick fun at my eating disorder.
We literally had a chicken and rice fest yesterday. It was me, you, and Gabby all sitting over the microwave, and we all just looked at each other like, what do you got? Chicken and rice. What do you got?
Started rice. Back on track. I had gone off the rails the week before, but I'm back. I'm dialed.
But how much better does it feel to be able to go out, with your girlfriend, with your parents, whoever it is, and just go enjoy some food?
Yeah.
I saw some random post on Twitter. It was like, I will take the 2-hour meal with my best friend or my girlfriend or wife or whatever, and enjoying the seed oils and all the other shit that goes into it because it's the ambiance, it's the presence and being with that person, than eating the most perfect caloric, macro and micronutrient thing for my diet. It will not serve you as well in isolation compared to being able to have that with your people that you enjoy being with.
Yeah, a little flexibility,
For sure.
the human component, the human element, just these things that
Yeah.
you're gonna regret eating your chicken and rice and broccoli or whatever.
Yeah, at some point you got to live your life. You got to be happy. At the end of the day, you got to be happy where you work. You got to be happy with what you're doing. And so, I don't know. I think some athletes, like I actually had a phone call before this in that meeting with an athlete, and I was like, man, like how'd the season go? He's like, it was okay. Trending. I'm gonna go play some college or some summer ball. And I kind of just asked him, and I was like, man, like when's the last time you had some time off to just like kind of just enjoy yourself, And he was like, probably like Thanksgiving. I was like, that's what it was like.
Baseball's supposed to be fun, goddammit.
I know it's a game. You got to enjoy it. Like I would do anything to go back and pitch one more game or have one more year of training. Like that would be awesome. And you don't really realize that until you're done and you're retired and then you're coaching somewhere and then you're, like, damn, I wish I could do what he's doing. I'd have any bad velo day one more time. But I told the kid, I was like, man, like go, you got a girlfriend? He's like, nah. He's like kind of chuckles. And I go, you got a family that loves you? He goes, yeah. I go, great.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you got to, hey, you never know. There's people from all sorts of backgrounds that get after it, man, and you got to respect that. So I really wanted to make sure I asked. I was like, you have a family that loves you? And he's like, yeah. I was like, good. Go spend some time with them. That is so big for people, just being able to mentally hit the reset button, being able to be like, man, I'm a human being outside of this. You cannot be 100% baseball all the time. You're going to go home, you're going to tinker, you're going to be all over the place. You're not going to have any enjoyment in your life. And you're going to get burnt out, tired. You're not going to want to do the work when it comes along because you're going to be wasting all your energy on time that it really shouldn't have been spent there. You should have been fishing. They're great physical activities that you can do or non-physical activities that will serve you right to get you in the right mindset or physically in the right mindset to like go perform the next time you need to go out there.
Very rarely does anybody just eat, sleep, breathe baseball.
No.
At the highest level, most of those guys, they do enjoy to fish. They enjoy shooting guns. They enjoy wine.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
depends on who the person is.
And people say alcohol is bad. I would agree. Alcohol is definitely poison and it's bad for us. But that glass of wine with your significant other or having that at the end of the night and just being able to relax and spend quality, not distracted time with somebody helps you connect with them, helps you feel like you're a human, you're a normal person, and you should enjoy that. So, yeah, man, BPS. I'll have to read into that more. I really like the concept. Yeah.
15-minute video.
All right.
Angus does a really good job. His content's really engaging because it's typically him going over some information that can be really technical at times, but he's also ripping curls and lifting in the midst of it.
Just fun.
It's very entertaining. And he's being Australian, I think that's just cool.
Makes you want to listen
about the accent. It's just engaging. But his content's really not to necessarily plug it, but I've really enjoyed watching some of those videos, and that was one that stuck out because I think it just helped me understand what it was, like put a finger on like something that I'd always been really intrigued by and always kind of theorized, but never really understood that was already the hypothesis that was out there, this existing framework. So yeah, definitely would recommend checking out some of his stuff. And I'll definitely send that to you as well. I'm trying to think if there's way too much. I'm looking at the clock.
Yeah, we're at 55. We have 5 minutes, but
all of this conversation does highlight the fact you have a psychology background.
Yeah. Both my parents actually have their master's degree in psychology, and that was kind of honestly, if I wasn't a pitching coach, or like a pitching trainer in baseball, and I've still debated this at times because it's so interesting to me, is like being a sports psychiatrist. I think it's the coolest damn thing. I think it's awesome. But yes, psychology background. It's sick. Was that your question?
Well, what about it is so cool? What about it is so cool?
Okay, I got you. I thought you were just asking because you were going to go somewhere with that. I was like, no. What do you got? No,
I always joke that you, with your athletes, and sometimes I've seen some of the conversations that you guys are having or that you are having to have with athletes, and I always joke that degree gets put to the test.
Yeah, I mean, to my own fault sometimes. You're right. I think that was one of the biggest things I got when I got to, for example, when I was in Pro Ball in the Atlantic League, and I was pitching coach there. One of the I think he's the GM or assistant GM. His name's Gary Peroni. He was a really good dude, good mentor to me when I was there. He was like, man, you got to be really careful with this because as a coach, your job is to be their best friend, or maybe not their best friend, but like a friend, a therapist, a coach.
Wear all these different hats.
Yeah, you have to have so many different characteristics and qualities to be a good coach. And sometimes as coaches, there's a very fine line that you have to draw with some athletes of like, hey, you probably can't call me at midnight. I really, because like if that were the case, I have 50 guys right now. It's like that's a lot of guys that could use a phone call, right? But I do think that I really like to have guys buy in because I know for me, when I trained here, like I think we talked about this. Like it was disappointing when I was a trainee and you went to your Velo day and you didn't show up and how bad you felt, not only because you didn't show up and you felt like, damn it, I just didn't do my job. But my trainer, I was like, fuck, my trainer's probably like I know what, that guy was pouring into me. And when I went out there and threw 80, he was probably like, Jesus Christ, like all the hard work I didn't ever wanted to be that disappointment. And I think it was just something that my mom instilled in me really well. That like, be a good person. It's okay to be like, listen, like you don't need to be talking the whole time. Sometimes people just like, I started this with Kelsey. Do you need me to listen or do you want an answer? Dude, that is huge because sometimes as people, we just need to get it the fuck out there. Like we just need it off our chest. I just can't have this inside of me thinking and swimming in my head for a week. Like you got to get it out there. And I think that like when you're able to put it in that sense that like sometimes there doesn't need to be an answer. Sometimes you're just being totally irrational and that's fine. And in sports, it's huge because you're going to fail a lot. And sometimes there's just like 3 dinkers that just go into left field. And psychologically, like you have to be able to get over that and develop techniques that are going to help you move past that. And that's why I always reference like journaling is so big. Meditating, if you can do it, doing it correctly is very difficult, but it is really important. Having a friend or, you guys put stuff on the inside of their hat. Like that's all psychological stuff. And I think that was something that really struck me because of my parents, and being able to help athletes. Like I've been an athlete, I've been on the other side of my career now. And it's like, I know that there were some unhealthy habits. For example, Tyler Kozlowski, our strength guy, was like, hey man, how many energy drinks do you pound a week? I was like, yeah, probably like 6. He's like, it's not good. You're just masking the fact that you get shit sleep. It's like, yeah, that's true. I needed a friend to just tell me that real quick. And now I'm having a Coke Zero because it has a little bit of caffeine, but like I want some bubbly in my life. I like the carbonation. So
and you're on that coffee grind now?
Yeah, now I have instant coffee and it's like, it's okay. I miss my energy drinks, but it's healthier for me. And I think having a support system like that is really important. And it just puts you in a better headspace to where you don't feel alone. People talk about like men's mental health. Like it's really important, man. That's something that I think baseball hasn't gotten to that point yet. I believe in the NBA. I know the NFL, it's required. It's required in the NBA to have at least 2 psychologists or 2 therapists on the team, and they travel with the team. Dude, some of these people get like players get death threats. People get told that, just terrible. You saw the thing with Jaren Duran.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's too easy now to reach players with social media.
Yeah.
And then I think something that's enhanced it too is sports betting, which...
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, because now all of a sudden everybody is invested. And then anybody that is, hey, thanks a lot. Now I can't...
Cost me my $500 bucks. Now I don't get to
now
eat.
I can't buy my kids
Christmas
gifts. Like,
that's fucked up. Yeah.
Messages, they're just constantly on repeat now.
Oh my god! Like we had an athlete that happened to hit another athlete in the MLB, and to hear some of the stuff, the death threats that he got, and for his family is just fucking crazy to me. Yeah. That there are that many people in the world that think like that. So like, if you don't have techniques or you don't have outlets and you don't have ways to handle that, like it can get you in a bad spot, and you can be in a dark place for a while. So I don't know. If you are in that dark place, obviously feel free. There's obviously like, prevention hotlines and whatnot and stuff like that. But I always recommend people, like, it's funny. I talked to my mom. She told me this. She was like, the people that have therapists the most, like the most common people that have it are therapists, because they realize they have just so much stuff on their plate. They need to get it out there. And it doesn't need that. I think everybody could probably benefit from some kind of like, cognitive therapy or just like being able to like talk for an hour. and just getting it out there. Because if you just let it sit on your, like, just sit on your mind, or you're going to carry that with you, and you're going to be like, you're going to be grouchy, you're just going to be irritable, and you're not enjoyable to be around. I think that's something that I'm very thankful for here, is like having, you, Maddox, Anthony, Grayson, like, we're also just friends. Like, we might be coworkers, but like, I legitimately feel like I could probably call all you guys on a Saturday and be like, hey man, Kelsey's out of town, like, I'm bored, like, you guys want to hang out? I feel like we would all be like, or like, hey man, I'm just like not doing well. Like, I feel like all of us would be good friends
But that
to each other.
drive all the way out to your place.
I know, but it's a worth it sacrifice in my opinion.
Yeah.
Kinda. It is far though.
We'll meet in downtown Phoenix.
We could do that for sure. Yeah. No, I don't know. Psychology is like one of those things that just hits home for me, man. I think it's an ignored thing, and I know that even as a player, like, it's something that I beat myself up a lot on it. My dad played professional baseball, my uncle played professional baseball, my grandpa played professional baseball. I never really made it to like a minor league team. I played overseas, and I'm proud of that. But it took me a long time to get to that point. I really did feel like a failure when and even after the fact, I got released when I was overseas, and I like lied about it for like a month. I was like, oh, it just felt like coming home. It's like, no, I didn't. I fucking sucked. I walked people, and I blew, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. Like, I knew my mom was still gonna love me. I know my friends are, they might troll me over it every once in a while, and like, whatever. That's fine. We can laugh at it now. But I had my best friend back home. Like, he was just like, just a good support system. I think it goes a lot farther than people give it credit. Truly.
Yeah.
So,
definitely touched on the almost having too much of your self-worth tied into baseball. Like, that's, I think, what a lot of guys just run into.
Yeah.
And one way I see that is when you just the kids that come in here that are always wearing, we'll say, perfect game or just baseball related attire, and that always like concerns me to some degree when I notice it, week after week or however many months span, that it's like, oh, I'm recognizing that this person doesn't have anything outside of baseball in their life that they enjoy, and that is dangerous. Like, I need you to touch some grass. I need you to
touch some grass. That's great. That's such a gamer troll.
Just something that, like, find some sort of other hobby, whether it's some people, like, whether it's, I don't know, we'll say fashion, food.
Yeah.
There's just all these little outlets that you can find, and
for sure.
And I think it just helps give a little separation of church and state.
For sure. Yeah. It's like a good checks and balances, man. Like, you can't be, what is it? Everything, too much of anything is probably a bad thing, and everything in moderation is okay, like more than likely okay. Like, you probably don't need to be 100% baseball. Probably don't need to be 30% baseball either, but a good mix of the two. And like, where you feel like, you're still a person, you have an identity outside of here. You definitely don't want to tie your self-worth to like your on-field performance, because you will struggle at some point. And being able to handle those moments is really, really important. And having people that are going to support you and help you during those times is really, I mean, huge. It saves people's lives. I mean, if you haven't watched the Netflix thing with Jaron Duran, like, talk about a guy that steps up to the plate, and like, nobody would ever have to know. He did not have to go through that length of like talking about that. But like, how incredible that he feels like on his platform, he's able to speak about that and maybe there's somebody else that was like going through the same thing, and now they feel a little bit better about that. Like, man, even at the highest level, that guy makes millions of dollars. He's so cool. People are like, oh, look at him. He's got, tattoos and chains, and he's just like the center fielder for the Red Sox. But like, he's a human being as well. And there's elements to that you can't replace from any of us, that we all struggle. And I thought it was really cool. I'm still finishing it up, that Netflix documentary, but I can't wait to get, I did see snippets of that over I think when it got released like a week or two back. And I was like, man, that's really awesome to see that. So, and Patty Pimblett, he did the same thing. A UFC fighter, he like wins something, and like, on Tuesday, he like fights on like Friday. He woke up on like Tuesday or Wednesday before his fight, and he got a message that his best friend back, I can't remember, he's from like Scotland or some weird shit. But his friend had taken his own life. And it was just like, man, if you need help, go get it. Like, there's nobody that's bigger than the other person. Like, we're all human beings, and we're all there to be there for each other. So seeing athletes like that use their platform, not to take a dark turn on this podcast, but it's just like one of those things. I think people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to talk about it, man. And it's an underrated aspect. Like you said, with the biopsychosocial thing, like, if you don't believe in yourself and you're not in a good place, how well can you really train? How well can you really get that out of you and feel confident in yourself?
Yeah, so that's the whole point of this place. right?
Absolutely. We
And
are
then
one big family.
Take control of your career.
Yeah.
Find a way to get better.
Dude, Peyton and Juan do every velo to get. I did that purposefully because even though like Peyton today didn't have a great day, he was like, I'm tired, man. I'm just not feeling great. My arm's a little hanging. I'm just a little tired. Hit a huge PR the week before. Like he stuck around to watch Juan PR on every ball. And I know Peyton wanted to be that guy to go in there and also PR, but he was a great teammate in that moment of being like, that's my bro right there. That's like gonna go work his ass off, and I want to support him. And I know if the roles were reversed and Juan had a bad day and Peyton was throwing well, Juan would be right there and be like, dude, great job. Like that's a huge community thing that I think we do a great job building here. Driveline family for a reason.
Training partners, having a training partner, unlock.
A huge unlock. Couldn't agree more. So, all right, man. I think we're at the one.
Yeah, we're over.
We always do this, but that's fine. I mean, that's good conversation. I mean, shit. Maybe we'll make this into 2 podcasts. We'll see. So yeah, man. I mean, we touched on a lot of great stuff. So we touched on the LSU stuff. That was a great trip.
That was a while ago.
That was literally an hour ago. But we touched on the LSU stuff. Hey, you got to be able to throw your off speed for a strike. We talked about some command stuff in the middle. How would you attack some command stuff? Went through a little bit of that. So if you're struggling with that, feel free to kind of get back to that point at I think it's like the 20-minute mark. What else did we talk about? Biopsychosocial concept, where there's no such thing as the perfect program. It has to tailor to you, what your life looks like. And then obviously like the mental side of things, obviously coming from a psychology background, like don't ignore the mental side of the game. As Marshawn Lynch would say, check your mentals, check your chickens, or what does he say? Something like that. I don't know.
I'm going to get mine more than I get got though.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, man, I mean, if you guys have any comments on that stuff, feel free to drop them in below. Gargas, I really appreciate you as always. You were a late guest. I know we had to get some chicken and rice in before this. I did too. So I appreciate you hopping on.
Oatmeal and chicken.
Oatmeal?
Yeah.
We will not comment on that in this podcast.
Carbohydrates and protein.
Oatmeal is apparently like easily digestible and it's pretty good for you, I think.
Yeah,
so.
It's also just what I happen to have.
Sure.
So,
yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you. If you've gotten this far in the podcast, we appreciate you watching. If you guys have any questions about anything that we talked about today, command-wise, college baseball, psychology background, BPS, anything like that, feel free to hit us in the comments. And yeah, thank you again for watching. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Ciao.
See ya.